Welcome, huge movie fanatic Nate, stopping on by, this time coming your way with yet another movie memories video. This is kind of like a series that I thought of recently and just recently started. This movie memories video takes us to back to 1991, back when I was at the house of a childhood teenage acquaintance of mine. We were just dicking around. I don't even know what the hell we were doing. We were probably, maybe doing, we made like little short movies and stuff. If you've seen like some of the stuff like the Texas Minnesota Chainsaw Kitty Massacre video and that from 1988 and stuff, or even Halloween from 1989 or whatever. As a kid, me and acquaintances would often do like short horror films and this kind of stuff. So maybe we were doing that. Who the hell knows? But I was at his place. And they, unlike us, they actually had cable, and he lived with his dad and his brother, and they actually had cable, and probably because the dad wanted cable. But I never, when I was a kid, never. We never had cable, so it was kind of interesting to be able to go there and kind of see every. I wouldn't want to go to their house and watch their cable, but in this particular instance, the TV happened to be on, and I was probably switched to some cable station, and I've never forgotten this since, and this had introduced me to, a movie a horror movie from the 70s that I hold in very high regard, Tourist Trap, of course, and I really should do a more lengthy review on Tourist Trap. I think there's a really short review on this channel of Tourist Trap, but the very first thing, how Tourist Trap came into my life was I was at this acquaintance's house, being 14 years old. We were both 14, and like I say, maybe he's flipping through cable channels or whatever, and then he flips to this one channel, which it was like the scene was a very dark situation. This hot chick in a halter top was coming in the room. It was a really darkly lit room, and she's like, Eileen, is that you? And there's a shot of a woman from behind sitting in a chair. I think it's Tanya, I don't know how to pronounce her first name, Roberts, sexy ass, at the time, and halter top and short shorts. Eileen, is that you? Camera, she's walking closer to the, approaching the woman sitting down in the chair. Camera's getting closer, intercut, kind of very Hitchcocky, and the just silence and really, really moody, dark lighting. And I'm like, oh, we're kind of both just watching it. Eileen! And then, of course, if you know Tourist Trap, the woman in the chair turns around, and it's got some creepy mask on, and it's like, yeah, it doesn't make that sound, but there's some, like, noise. Both arms go up, and Tanya Roberts is like, oh my God, kind of scares her, drops a flashlight, and turns around, door shuts. If you've seen Tourist Trap, you know the scene I'm talking about. And it's like, the Pino Donaggio, or however the hell you pronounce his last name, music starts, didn't, and I don't know if I know all the scene right now, but I mean, it's like the scene where I think all the mannequins are like, and Tanya Roberts, or whatever the hell he pronounced her first name, was on the floor, and they all, all the kind of orgasmic female mannequins all make the sound and fall on her and stuff, and I don't know if she falls unconscious from fear or whatever, and I can't remember how much of the scene we watched before my friend was like, God, this is stupid, and like flipped it to a different channel. And I'm thinking, peer pressure, you don't want to, when you're 14, you want to kind of fit in with your peers a little bit. So I was kind of like, I didn't say anything. I didn't think that was stupid. I thought that looked really cool. And, he flips it away. Who the hell knows what he flipped to? I can't remember that. But I remember the frustration of just like, that was so he flips. Who the hell knows where he flipped to? But all I know is it flipped away from Tourist Trap, in the frustration at the moment of like, first not being able to see anymore, and second, like, how am I ever gonna know what the hell that was? But my genius 14-year-old brain at the time later I don't know when I thought of this, maybe just sitting there, you know, watching whatever he was flipping through channels or whatever, maybe I sat there and devised this, but at some point I came up with the brilliant idea, well, you know, you've got with a Sunday paper back in the day, you'd get the weekly, like, you know, schedule for TV, and underneath it, I don't know if it included everything that was on cable. I don't know how, I can't remember how it worked, but I think it included some of the cable channels. Like here was the broadcast TV and the rabbit ears, and then under that would be like some of the cable channels or something. And I'm like, you know what? I could look at, you know, the TV, you know, the weekly TV schedule thing, TV/cable schedule thing for that day, and that approximate time when we were, you know, when he was flipping through channels, and I can maybe find what, you know, what that little clip of it was that we were watching. And sure enough, you know, I went through the TV schedule thing, and I'm like, you know, going down the cable, I found the day, and I found the approximate time, would have been 7 p.m., 8 p.m., I don't know, something like that, 6, 7, 8 p.m., and I'm like, no, Barney, I don't know if Barney existed yet, but I'm just making things up, you know, like, what would have existed? RoboCop, you know, Action Jackson, you know, no, it's not going to be that, you know, Rambo First Blood Part 2, and then Tourist Trap, and I'm like, yeah, that maybe that could be it. And this is like, I can't even remember. Jesus, this is before the internet, so it's not like you can go and type Tourist Trap online and see the posters or stills or images or trailers. So that must have been really weird, like at the time, like, okay, Tourist Trap. And then at 1991, I mean, still, you don't even know. I mean, maybe there was I can't remember if there would have been a blurb. You might, yeah, I think back in the day, you know, you could go look at another part of the little weekly TV schedule thing and maybe see a synopsis or something. It's very possible. If that's the case, I would have been able to possibly do that and be like, okay, well, this must be it. And then I can remember going to a mom and pop video store, and I was so delighted when in the horror section when I found, you know, the VHS. Oh, you know what? Later on, I just remember this now. I mean, I remembered it prior and I just re-remembered it now, that later on he was flipping through other stuff. Towards the end of the movie, we flipped back to it, and maybe I kind of suggested it, like, well, let's see what's going on with that other movie. And I remember he flipped back to it when it's like Tanya Roberts' character. This is kind of a spoiler. When something, we'll just say when something happens to her. And, you know, you've got them, you know, the Butch Cassidy, I don't know what, it was like, it was, I can't remember what characters are animated, and there's an Indian who throws a tomahawk and then a knife, and then it's General Custard and Billy the Cat, I can't remember, but there's a in one of the, you know, the whatever, guys shooting the guns, and the Indians got the tomahawk and the knife or whatever. Something happens to Tanya Roberts, did not spoil it completely in that scene, and I remember her sliding down the pole with her halter top, and I remember thinking, well, this is cable, in you know, so I was just like, as a 14-year-old, she's sliding down the pillar thing, and like it looks like, you know, her top is so tight, and it's just, I was just hoping it just, which is just ridiculous, you know, that it was like her tit's gonna fall out of her halter top, you know, during that scene when something is happening to her. But I'd later on, when I found it in the video store, I'd be disappointed to see that it was rated PG, and that's still to this day one of the things that I think hurt Tourist Trap. I think if they would have put, you know, some, you know, gratuitous female nudity in it and some swearing and stuff, they could have got it a nice solid R rating. And Tourist Trap is such a good frickin' movie that with just an amazing score by Pino Donaggio, or however the hell you say it, I really have to learn. You know, I've heard his last name pronounced, you know, for real, but I can never remember how to pronounce it. In the 90s and stuff, when I got all into Dario Argento and stuff, I always pronounced it Donaggio, but I don't think it's Donaggio. It might be Donaggio, but his amazing music for Tourist Trap. But not only that, I just think it's extremely atmospheric, and just a really, really fun, like, independent horror film. Like, if only it could have been rated R, I think it would have been much more successful. But yeah, that's my movie memories regarding Tourist Trap, and in my, it very first coming into my life. And yeah, I forgot about that briefly there, that we saw that one part earlier in the movie, then he must have just been flipping through whatever, and then later on we saw later on in the movie. And it must have been because I was like suggested, well, let's just see what's going on with that, what you call stupid movie, because I thought it was really creepy, that scene, when she's coming in the door and Eileen, and turns around and, didn't, but I don't know if there's much more to say really about that was my movie memories regarding how, Tourist Trap, and how Tourist Trap came into my life. Was able to find it at the video store, and it was probably one of those early, which I've actually got, and I can only assume I've showcased on this channel already, one of those early media VHS releases of Tourist Trap. I think that's what I rented. But I can remember being so, and I would have, of course, I would have recorded it with another VCR possibly, but that would have been, I was very delighted when I saw the cover, and obviously like the kind of the mask, imagery that I'd kind of already seen in some of that one clip or whatever, that woman in the chair or whatever turning around and shocking the viewer or whatever. But yeah, Tourist Trap, a movie that I hold in very high regard, and unfortunately it got a relatively decent, like its first DVD release is still kind of my go-to home video version to watch it. Unfortunately, it got a couple of Blu-ray versions, which unfortunately are both kind of not the most amazing presentation of the movie, unfortunately. I really think, especially with some of the stuff Criterion has put on Blu-ray and stuff, that I think Tourist Trap is a good enough movie, honestly, for where it could actually be, worthy of, not like Criterion's the end-all be-all of whatever, but it would be cool if, like, because Charles Band always, like, puts his own stuff out for the most part. Well, some of his like late 80s, early 90s, I guess, what was that studio called? I can't remember Empire. Some of that stuff I don't think he owns, so that's like put out by other, like Scream Factory over the years, and, MGM or whatever. But, yeah, a lot of times, Tourist Trap is something that Charles Band owns, unfortunately, so it's like he's always been the one who put out the DVD or the Blu-ray releases, and all of them are just like relatively subpar, and it's just like, god damn it, such a great movie deserves to exist on home video in a better way. So as I've said, I when I watch it, I pretty much just stick to the first DVD. I think is the all-around just best presentation of the movie. But I really, I got at a full moon sale, I don't know if it was last year, I think it might have been last year, I did get, it was on sale, like 50% off sale. I got that big box, kind of reproduction Blu-ray release of like they did two Blu-ray versions. It's the second one, like the uncut version, and it's got the little Slauson, Mr. Slauson figure and stuff. I got that, and I probably really should rewatch that and review it. All I can simply say is, just a kind of a Blu-ray debacle, unfortunately, and I can't really comment. I think you can see both of them on Tubi, like both HD versions, so I can't really comment on the first Blu-ray release because, I only own the second one. But as I said, you might be able to watch both Blu-ray or both high-definition versions on Tubi. But yeah, if in my opinion, to best see Tourist Trap is like to own pretty much and watch the first DVD release of it before, because after that the home, the Blu-ray versions just get wonky. But I guess that'll pretty much do it for my movie memories, whatever, of Tourist Trap, how the classic 70s Charles Band, production, whatever the hell it is. It was a David Schmoller film, Tourist Trap, came into my life. So it's one of the memories that always, movie memories that always stuck out, and definitely something worth sharing with you guys. So I guess that pretty much does it. I sure hope you guys enjoyed this movie memories, trip down memory lane video. Thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, we'll catch you on the next video.